pleasure to introduce Jesse Stephenson. Jesse is the creator of the E-Fox, which we see there over his left shoulder. It's a small enclosed tricycle that he's launching, and we want to find out about the product and what on God's green earth possessed him to go ahead and build it. So Jesse, welcome to EV World.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Well, you know, the thing that strikes me as strange, when I asked you where you lived, you said North Carolina. And I'm pretty sure that's where the elf also originates. So what are the odds that we would have in the same state two similar types of enclosed, basically recumbent bicycle devices, vehicles?
Well, probably, I'm not sure what the odds are, but we definitely had seen the elf online, actually had tried it out. It's a great product.
Yeah.
They were in a place and they weren't, they were just getting started because they just rolled out in May as well. We had been looking at velomobiles. We went to the recumbent rally in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And we were just trying to gather as much information. We researched, there's 5 or 6 velomobiles like this, or e-commuters as we call them, that are actually being sold. Elf is the most popular. There's a tripod and there's a few others. And so a lot of things, my wife and I we exercise together, we like to ride bikes together, and so I can't remember if somebody had sent a picture of a velomobile to us or what actually started it.
Yeah.
But we got interested.
So you began what, this past spring, or it's been going on longer than that?
No, we actually began in this summer, really building it.
Wow.
In August, yeah.
Okay, so walk us through the process of what it takes. I mean, first of all, sort of tell me what the E-Fox is. You know, there's obviously an underlying chassis, and then you've got, appears to be fiberglass or whatever it is, body on it. So kind of tell us a little bit about the vehicle.
Okay. It is a recumbent trike, so it's a tadpole is what they call it. 2 wheels in the front, 1 in the back. They're very fast. They're like a bicycle in terms of speed, or even faster, some of them. Ours sits up a little higher. It's by Terra Trike, and it's called the Rover. And so when we went to this rally, we ended up purchasing that with the thought of, let's build a shell on that and get a hub motor put in it and just see where this thing goes. And so, of course, I didn't realize how much work it is to build a shell. Ours is out of fiberglass. I got some people who actually knew how to do fiberglass work. I messed with it some myself and started on paper doodling, and then laid the trike down, and my wife drew around me in kind of the shape we wanted, and it's kind of been like that the whole way through. And then just bringing in friends and people in the industry who were experts in certain areas to help us, like building the structure that holds the shell to the trike. That required some work from some people who were, you know, engineer-minded. So.
Right. So what's your background?
Well, my background is pretty varied. I got out of high school and I actually went in the military. I was Navy SEAL for 5 years.
Okay.
I got out after 5 years. Went to college. Ended up going to mission school. I met my wife there in Bible school. We went to Venezuela and worked with the Wadao Indians for several years. Came back in the States, and I've done several different things. I've been on staff in a couple different churches as well, in a pastoral role, and have always been a tinker. On the mission field, I had to learn to do a lot of stuff, build a lot of stuff, my own furniture and stuff, and so it kind of, maybe that was where, I'm not sure, but wherever, I just really love getting in and kind of creating new things.
Right. Well, you've certainly done that. So you had friends that came in and helped you. I mean, who did the sort of the design work on the shell there?
Well, I drew it out, and then I put it on some foam, and I sanded kind of a basic shape that I liked, and then I had some guys who were local fiberglass people who had done boat building and such kind of give input and help me out as well.
Okay. Now, you said this has got a hub motor, so obviously it's a, in the truest sense, it's a human hybrid vehicle.
Yeah.
So give us some of the specs on the performance of the vehicle, motor, the batteries you use, that type of thing.
Okay. It's got a 500 watt motor by Electric Bike Technologies. Went up and met with those guys. Just real impressed at how efficient they were. They build their own hubs into the back wheel itself, and they're also connected with a lot of really well-known bike manufacturers. So I really enjoyed getting to know them, and became a dealer for them. And so we're using their electric motor. It's a lithium battery. This particular one is a 36 volt system, 15 amp hour. You can step that up if you would like to a 20 amp hour, or you can buy a second 15 amp hour or whatever. But the specs on it will go about 20 miles an hour, maybe just under, if it fits within the criteria of what the federal law for it being classified as a bicycle, and that is under 750 watt motor in less than 20 miles an hour, just on the motor with a 170 pound man. So it fits within those specs.
Right.
You can carry about 100 pounds of cargo in the back. I've got a trunk in the back. It has a surfboard rack. I'm in a beach town, and so that's kind of a big deal. And it works real well, actually.
Right. So so you do all of the manufacturing there in North Carolina, or does the company send you in? I hate to say gliders, but the bikes come in as kits, or what's the manufacturing process?
Yeah, I would say that really we're the assemblers, because what I've done is I built the prototype, and a lot of the parts are off-the-shelf bicycle parts or e-bike type kits, things like that. The shell obviously not, but I have now a guy that's helping me out. He's been just awesome, and he's over the boat building curriculum at our local community college here. And so we've got a connection from him and his brother, who owns a fiberglass kind of, not factory, but a small, kind of a small factory here in town where they build all kinds of boats or anything fiberglass. And he's going to be pulling parts for me.
Oh, okay.
So what that means is everything comes in, I purchase everything now, and I assemble them with some guys that I've got that are going to be working with me, putting them together.
Right. Okay. Super. So you got a 20 mile an hour. It'll haul 100 pounds roughly of cargo. How much can you just sit there and not pedal, or do you? And if you don't pedal, what kind of range do you have on it then? That's the typical question I get asked all the time.
Yeah, it's about 30 miles if you're pedaling along with it, maybe a little under with the shell on it. That, of course, will depend on how much you're pedaling or how little. If you're just using the motor, I haven't actually calculated to see. My guess is if you're just using the motor the entire time, it'd be around 20 miles. It goes well up hills. We do have a few hills here downtown, and we've tried it out there, and the motor is more than enough. It only weighs 135 pounds, so it's not all that heavy. The total payload actually is 270 pounds.
Okay.
So depending on where a person's at, would depend on how much cargo they could actually carry on top of the weight.
Okay, great. So what's sort of your market for this? Who do you see this appealing to?
Well, you know, I think more than trying to pull people off bicycles, it's going to be helping people to understand, in the name of my company's new way to commute. And I think that's the reality, is this actually could be a commuter, a new way to get around, to go to work, to go to the grocery store to pick up some things. You can carry 6 or 7 bags of groceries in the trunk, things like that. You could actually use this as a vehicle, even though it is classified as a bicycle. The cool thing about that, it goes anywhere a bike can go.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you know, there's some areas in the U.S. where there's a little bit more restrictions than others, so people will have to check that out before purchasing.
Right. Well, that would be sort of my question, because it's obviously, you know, at 270 some pounds gross, it's obviously much bigger than a bicycle. So I would see that local communities that have bike paths and things like that might frown on you know, having it on that. At the same time, it's small, kind of lightweight, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge if you try to drive it down a street, unless obviously it's a quiet sort of neighborhood street.
Exactly. My wife rides it to and from work, and it's just under 5 miles. And so what's neat is if you go on Google, hit the bicycle function, it shows you the alternate neighborhood roads, and it does really good on neighborhood streets. You don't want to go down a main thoroughfare, obviously. But although you could, you wouldn't want to do that. You can go on bike paths. It's only 33 inches wide, and so actually it's about the same width as a lot of bicycle handlebars, even though it looks much bigger because of the big structure. In terms of getting through and staying on bicycle lanes, I was out on it yesterday. We've got some great bicycle lanes here, and it does just fine passing people who are jogging or riding bikes coming opposed to me.
Right. So what's been the reaction there among your neighbors and your parishioners to this venture?
People love it. They think that definitely, they don't know what it is because obviously there's not many of these in the U.S. You know, in Europe, these velomobile type vehicles are doing great, but, things like your magazine and such are really, this is so new for Americans that people just aren't used to it, but they love it. I've had a lot of people test ride it. It obviously, anybody you pass by, they're turning and staring because they just don't know what it is. A lot of people are asking questions. They really love it.
Yeah, good. All right, so you're doing, I think, something with Kickstarter, are you?
I am. I have a Kickstarter campaign that I launched about 7-8 days ago.
Okay.
And if you type in eFox, you'll be able to get to it from there.
Okay.
I've gotten a lot of views. I haven't got. We've got some raised. I think $360 we've gotten raised so far, but could certainly use the help of folks get this thing off the ground.
Yeah. What's your goal?
45,000,
okay.
And what that would represent would be about 9 sales of these eFoxes, as well as just some other pledges that they could do.
Right. Okay. All right. So what's the asking price of it?
It's $4,850.
$4,850. And typically, what's the lead time if somebody places an order?
What
are you looking at?
Initially, it's going to be about 4 weeks, but and obviously, I'm hoping it's going to really take off. It has the potential to, and if that does, then it'll extend from there.
Okay.
So,
all right. Good. So, and you've got a website, I believe.
Yes, sir. It's NuWay2Commute.com, and it's NuWay, the number 2.
Right. Okay.
Commute.
Okay. Excellent. Good. Well, keep us. I should ask you. So you've built one, just the initial prototype, or you have some others, or what?
I've just built a prototype now. I've got a couple other people who are on the verge of purchasing, and so as soon as that happens, that's when we'll go ahead and start doing the assembly.
Okay, good. All right, well, lots of luck with it there, Jesse.
I sure appreciate it.
All righty. Okay, bye-bye.
See ya.